man.
Why are you doing that? Get your grubby fingers off my head. Like
It's first of all, no one asked.
yeah,
Like
so
your opinions for yourself.
yeah, right.
Your hair freaks me out. You smell like copper, and you need to shower. Wash your legs. How about that?
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Hello, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's episode, we have Demi here. So this is a new segment that I'm starting on my channel. It's called... Okay, I have a slight confession. I actually edited this entire video and I still haven't come up with a name for this. So comment down below if you like this name. I'm thinking of going mix with mixers and muses, or mixers with Nikki. I don't know. Should it be more simple? Should it be more extravagant? I don't know. Leave your comment down below. Thank you. So in today's episode, we're just going to be talking about Black History Month, some topics to do with being Black in Edmonton, being Black in Alberta. Happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month. We love that.
And we're going to be making some little mocktails in the back there. So let's get right into it. Demi is a local content creator. You should all follow her. Here's her handle.
Thank you.
And here's her Instagram. Okay, subscribe to her YouTube channel too.
Thank you. I am Black content creator, like you said. And I love talking about Blackness and talking about intersectionality and all that means, and especially my personal life. So I'm glad to be able to do this a little bit more on your channel and chit chat.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm so excited to have her here.
Luna's like, look at me.
So the ingredients are mango juice, exotic mango. We have lime syrup, lime juice, and then this is just like a berry juice.
And their sexy glasses.
Oh, sexy glasses.
Oh, nice.
We're gonna start off with the makeshift shaker.
I know that you're drunk. Tell me what you want after.
Waiting for my ancestors to tell me when to stop.
I'm sliding, I'm lucky with my women, I'm deciding. Call me to your crib and I'm sliding. First things first, let me get that introduction. We on the long road to sell this stuff.
Her overalls so cute.
Yeah, I had to pull out the overalls
They're
for
so
today.
cute.
Cheers.
Yes.
First sip.
First sip. Thoughts? Ooh.
Is more.
So we're gonna get right into the questions. How has your experience been making Black and not Black friends in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada?
In general, Canada. I'll do Alberta first.
Okay.
I don't have as much.
Yeah,
Because I've only been here, oh my god, it's good for 4 years.
wow.
Oh, no, 3 years. It's 3 years.
Okay.
But my experience making Black and non-Black friends, I feel like it's nuanced. I feel like there's something about white girlies who they want to have that token Black girlfriend.
Yeah.
So I feel like they are the most eager to try and whatever. But I feel like I was intentional to try and have a BIPOC friendly friend group. I wanted to because I went to a PWI, so I'm I don't necessarily want to be the only Black in all these white spaces anymore, by choice.
Yeah.
There was trauma there, so I was okay. So I actively went for that. I feel what my experience has been honestly really I think positive. Okay. I think especially comparing it to what's it called, Winnipeg, which is where I'm from. It was cliquey there. I still feel it's somewhat cliquey here.
Yeah.
A lot of people have friends and their friend groups since high school and stuff, and it's all very much if you're from here, the local. I feel everyone has their little friend groups.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I feel I've been lucky to meet people who are kind of give a good vibe and who have the same way of thinking as I do.
Okay.
But for I guess for non-black or black, crickets. Well, you say yours. Maybe I'll like my mind will jog.
Okay. I'll start with making non-black friends.
Okay,
Because
yes.
when I first came to Canada, so I came to Canada for university and I came straight to Edmonton. I think the difference is you kind of grew up here, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's like
There's a
little
culture difference.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference there.
Yeah.
When I was starting university, I really wanted to make an effort to, diversify my friend group
Yes.
and like make sure that, because I went to a PWI for like middle school and elementary school, and then when I went to my high school, it was very, very mixed. So it was like some white people, some black people, but it was like very, very mixed.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that I kind of had that diversity. So
Nice.
I did make friends with white people and black people. But I did find like a big difference. Like I did find that when I'm hanging out with white people, I would have to like change parts of myself
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
code switch
Yeah.
and like morph to fit into their standard and all that type
Kind of
of
play
thing.
a role at times.
Yeah, exactly. Like the token black friend,
Yes.
is what you said. Because like a lot of the white spaces or like non-black spaces that I was in, I was the only black person.
Yes.
So it's kind of like,
And
yeah.
it's like a lot of them. It's like you're their first experience of like having a black friend.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of what society or media or whatever they like place that on you, and you feel like you have to like conform to like whatever that is.
Yeah.
You know. So it feels like, for me specifically, if I speak about this is more for Edmonton or Winnipeg.
Yeah.
It felt like I had to like be ghetto or like be loud or like be what like stereotypically they thought black girls were. And if I wasn't, I would felt like not tossed away, but like they were bored, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so it was just like, okay, I can't necessarily be myself. I have to always be entertaining in some way.
Yeah. I totally get that.
Mm.
I relate to that. Okay. I feel like that was a good answer. Second question. What are some common beliefs you've come across from non-black people in the workspace about black people? I think we kind of like
We touched on it.
in like a friend sense, but not in a work sense.
In a work sense, there's like a level of like massery. And this is a word I just made up, but I feel like when you have a white boss, there's a level of not role-playing slavery, but like first of all, I feel like you always feel under the microscope.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you're not allowed to like, number one, you're not allowed to be shy or
Yeah.
be introverted,
Yeah.
because then it seems
Yeah.
like, oh, like you're not wanting to be part of the team.
Yeah.
And it's similar to what you said about like feeling the need to entertain or like be like, you know, whatever, non-threatening. But it feels like even if you're mediocre or like the same as everyone else, it's like you feel like you're held to a higher standard. And if you are better than everyone, like, you know, whatever, it feels like, oh, there has to be something with this. You know, like they can't believe that maybe you're just intelligent or maybe you just get it, you know?
Yeah. It's like oh, waiting for you to mess up almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just like for background, what kind of like work you done? Like I know you've done real estate and hospitality.
Yes.
So what's the difference you feel?
So like in my hospitality kind of in line with customer service.
Yeah.
But in those roles, I find that there's always a miserable white woman who,
We know you.
there's always one, like a supervisor or whatever. And I'm sorry, I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
But like they want to like, it feels like not only like nitpicky, but like it feels like they want to like bring you down or like to some degree. I know like these like, and I feel like the level of like intensity for like customer service like employers and stuff like that, they're like a lot more OTT than if you are actually in the corporate world. I feel like they're a lot more laid back in ways. But I feel like the difference between hospitality / customer service versus like corporate is like overt and covert. I feel like in customer service is like you're gonna clean the floors and you're gonna like, you know, I feel like it's a lot more just like in your face, just like you feel like an employee, you feel like a worker. And I feel like with corporate, it's like you have to like play a role. Like there's like, you know, there's so much language, there's like so much acting in like being in a corporate space. It's just like, you know, there's like language and roles that you have to play. And if you don't, then I feel like you're treated in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's BS, though. But that's just me.
100% BS.
Yeah.
Just to add to what you're saying, I think I have like a nice example.
Yes, please.
That I was thinking about this morning when I was thinking about the questions that I prescribed to you. In the workspace, I think like one thing that I did suffer a lot with, I worked in retail until about last year, and this is my first corporate job. So working in retail for like all those years, and then I did like what did I do before? Like, yeah, I've mostly worked in retail. I think one thing that was always surprising to me is how it's such a huge thing when you change your hair.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It's like,
oh my god, who are you?
It's like, I remember this one time. Okay, so I have two instances in retail for this. The first time, I had a wig on, right?
Yeah.
A straight wig, and then one of my white coworkers came up to me. She's just like, "Your hair freaks me out."
What? Why did I feel comfortable to note and comment on, like, what does that even mean?
I know, right? So, and then I like didn't really talk to her for the rest of the day, and then she was just kind of like, "Oh,
is everything okay?"
Yeah." She's like I don't know, did I say something wrong? Blah blah. I'm like, well, you can't really like tell me that my hair, which is like, it's like a layered
for your identity, yeah.
And then you're like telling me that it freaks you out. Like, I don't know what.
First of all, no one asked.
Yeah.
Like
so.
Keep your opinions to yourself.
Yeah, right.
Your hair freaks me out. You smell like copper, and you need to shower. Wash your legs. How about that?
I was just like, anyway. I was very nice to respond to her, and I actually gave her an infographic on Instagram about why black hair is not just hair and you can't just say whatever you feel about it. And she was like, "Oh my god, I did not." And then it like turns into that like white guilt kind of thing that you have to absorb,
and then you have to like
absolve for them.
Yeah, absolve them for them.
Yeah,
and then you're gonna put in a teacher role.
Yeah,
for.
And I think that's what happens to a lot of like black people who work in like predominantly white spaces. It's like you take on this like teacher role, and you take on this role where it's like you have to give everyone the do's and don'ts about interacting with black people.
Here's how to not like, you know, discredit my identity or my being, you know, or like be racist or like have to be microaggressive towards me or it's really interesting like that you're just like forced into like not making yourself palatable, but like making them understand how they're like trying to make you small. Like in so many ways you have to like, you know, shrink yourselves, or like, you know, like you said with friendships have to like show like tones and variations of yourself. And even I peeped, you said like, I said it very like nicely, but that's also because of the angry black woman trope, where you can't have frustration or anything, and you can't just express regular human emotion without it being like you're aggressive or you're whatever. And like I saw this, I haven't watched the video, but there's like something about, I saw this like video essay where the thing was like black women are allowed to have like female rage. Because you know you see those edits where it's like female rage and they have these characters, these white women like screaming, being like and being mad at like, rightfully so, at like the patriarchy, but it's like there's a layer of that we are not allowed to express. You just have to always be palatable, because even just us showing visible hurt or sadness, everything is villainized. All of our reactions are. So it's like you can't even be hurt without it being like, oh my god, like, you know what I mean? Without it being like an aspect of you is aggressive or is too much for the white space.
I agree with that. The other instance that I had, you've probably experienced this, especially because you have locks, and I don't know what it is about like white people and touching your hair.
Oh my god.
Why are you doing that? Get your grubby fingers off my head. Like,
why are we still having that conversation? No, I remember like us having to teach our mom. It's crazy because I think that's another experience of, I don't know, like your parents didn't come
to
like Canada.
So I would be like, I'm the first generation like immigrant.
Okay.
So like my parents didn't immigrate here.
Okay, so it's a little bit a different experience, but
Yeah.
like as an immigrant coming here, there's so many things that you like realize. There's so many things. First of all, you first realize you're black.
Yeah.
Like, you like, or you know, even not being an immigrant, but like being in non-black spaces, you're like, oh wait, I'm black now.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm not just like a regular person.
Yeah.
I have like
An extra layer of your identity.
you feel it because you feel the otherness that comes with you in spaces and like how people react and treat you and how in just different everyday conversations or whatever, like the way you're taken or digested is different from other people around, you know? Let's just say you come here, you realize you're black, you have all these experiences, and then I feel like both me and my parents were having very similar experiences. They were now being black in the workplace, you know, and like obviously they had to start over and whatever. So when they finally were back, it was like a weird conversation where this is when Twitter was becoming a thing. I was becoming radicalized because I had the white people had said N-word one too many times for me to,
Oh my god.
I was like,
yeah.
like I didn't even know what the N-word was. A white person had to explain that to me, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, like now,
Yeah. You're like, oh.
now here's this trauma like laid on my shoulders. It's like, oh, I wish I didn't know, you know, but now it's, I guess it's like, wait, how many times maybe it was said I didn't even realize, because like I didn't know to realize. I had to like learn a whole other culture.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was getting radicalized from Twitter, and like I was finding out a lot of things that I felt weird about, but you don't have the language to be like, oh wait, this is a microaggression, or wait, this is not okay, and this only happens to you. Like, you know, why is that?
Yeah.
And being like, yeah, mom, you shouldn't allow them to touch your hair, like because X, Y, and Z. And she was like, and seeing that realization in her face, like the validation of like, wait, I'm glad like I know like this is not okay, and like I was right or okay to feeling like uncomfortable in this situation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, don't touch people's hair, guys.
Like you saying that is making me realize that like when you've grown up where you're not different, where you're not like just a black person, you're literally just a person. And
Yes.
I think like in the West, race is something that is very important in every conversation. I feel like back in like Africa, like most African countries, the like race is not really something
There's no
that's
feeling to talk about it.
it's not really like even like the N-word. Like I went to high school with like everyone said the N-word. Like white people said it, like brown people said it.
And this was
like,
in Africa.
Yeah. And it's like, so when I kind of started realizing that, hey, like there's history to this word and that's where it comes from and everything, it's just like, oh wow.
Like, wow.
Yeah, it's like a whole like,
realization.
Because like ignorance is bliss. It's like nice.
It really is. Because you're like, oh wow, like this hatred is like historically, and there's so much in that and underneath that.
Yeah.
There's like, and you know how ancestrally it's like, there's ancestral trauma.
Yeah.
It's also like there's ancestral entitlement, I feel
Yeah.
like, for certain races.
Yeah, absolutely. And if your great grandparents were slave masters or whatever, then you've never really been prompted, or like why would you even care about black rights or like any rights outside of your white space?
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever experienced cliques or divide within the black community?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think we're in the black, there's so much divide.
So much.
Especially recently.
Yeah.
A couple years back with the what you bring to the table. There's a gender divide.
My lip gloss.
Yeah.
My nails.
I think there's a gender divide. There's a diaspora divide.
Definitely.
There's spiritual divide.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things. I feel like there's a lot of learning. I feel like we have to do, not like as black people. I think there's a lot of questioning that we have to do, because I feel like there's like cliques. I'll speak for me, I guess, spiritually.
Yeah.
I was raised really Christian. My parents were really Christian. We were really Christian in Nigeria. Like went to vigils and all that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, like I was in the choir.
Wow.
Yeah, as a kid. Yeah, so very much. My second word was hallelujah.
Amen.
Which is like, you know, that's just how it was.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like a lot of African, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of African communities, there's like a conservative, like there's kind of somewhat conservative because of the like heavily religious aspect of a lot of these countries due to colonialism.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I feel like I'm personally at the place where I'm like questioning why we practice something that was only given to us through colonialism or slavery or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's where I am personally. But I feel like that is not, I guess, the case for a good part of our community.
Yeah.
So I feel a click or like disconnect or with that personally, because I'm like, I'm at the place where I'm like, I want to know what my ancestors actually studied. I want to get in tune with that. And I feel like there's so much that has been stripped from our identity that I want to try and get back to that. And I feel like, not the black excellence, but something along those ways, like the tokenism or whatever, and like to be like, oh, you have to excellence your way out of, you know,
out of being received.
Excellence your way out of racism, excellence your way out of like these like really heavy things that we have to like work through as black people. I think it's like a trauma response. Like I feel like, because even I didn't watch the Beyonce video, but I know people were saying like even at her level, she has to like fight being discredited or fight being, like it never really goes away, you know, even as high as you get. So I feel like that was such a
that was huge. I was following you every single way though, all the way.
But I think that trickles down to like even cliques and like, or like how we interact with one another. I think we're all on different paths with that, you know.
I just finished Viola Davis's book Finding Me, and she kind of talks about that, like how black people have to work so hard. Like she has been acting since she was in her late 20s. Since she like, that's what saved her out of like her situation. I don't know if you've read the book or know about her history.
I know a little bit. I've heard a little bit about her story.
It's like crazy. Very wild and sad.
Very sad.
Yeah, so she started, but she only got her first big break in like her late 20s, and she went to Juilliard.
I was gonna say, didn't she go to Juilliard?
She went to Juilliard.
Or something.
Yeah, she went to Juilliard, and she had been acting. She's been on Broadway. She had been like, but they were still saying no to her because mostly from the premise that she's too dark
to be a leading lady.
She's not sexy enough because you know, like a lot of black women are not seen as sexy. She's not like all these like
barriers or like, you know, stereotypes.
All these stereotypes that are put on black women that she couldn't like get behind and like overcome. And then she was even talking about how she's kind of at the same caliber as Meryl Streep. And she doesn't get half the gigs that Meryl Streep gets.
Or money.
Money. That's like a huge part. But I think for going back to the vibe, about spirituality and everything that you said about that, me growing up in an African country and seeing that, especially because my parents were pretty Christian and like they tried to raise us within that standard. A lot of it is just like literal indoctrination, literal like brainwashing from missionaries and colonizers coming and telling them, if you go back to your bad African witchcraft, you're going straight to hell. And like, if you're told that and you don't know anything else, then I'm sure you would not want to go to hell.
And it's more sinister than that because they would come, bomb, steal, cause wars and strife. And then when the people are reeling and going through it, send their missionaries. You know what will save you from these hard times?
Jesus Christ. The white Jesus.
Nazareth. And it's like, you caused this, now you're coming to give a white god. And like the act of praying to a white god as well as because I feel like every race has their spiritual higher power, whatever. The act of black African people praying to a white god to save them from, it's just like, even that imagery is like, it feels often wrong because it's like the white saviorism is like, you know, is so prevalent and it's so like I don't know, it's just like, it's so sinister because it's like at the end of the day, you caused this strife and pain and the fact that people are in this situation, you know? And like now you're coming in and trying to like wipe, like, you know, wash this away and wipe what they normally, and there's also a reason for that. There's literally a book called How to Strip the Negro Using like it's you, but it's like it was a strategized attack because when you wipe someone's identity, they're easier to control, they're easier to manipulate, and they can adopt your ways of whatever, capitalism, all that stuff, you know. So
very much when you think about it and when you like deconstruct that, it's very much calculated. It was very much like forced upon our ancestors, and we're still dealing with the consequences today. I think also part of the divide that I've noticed is African Americans and like Africans straight from the that like divide is so it's wild to me because it's just like we're all from the same place, so it should like us like having that divide in the first place is so like a result of colonialism. That's exactly what they want.
Divide and conquer. Was their motto.
Divide and conquer.
I mean, you see it in every aspect of where oppression is. Divide and conquer keeps the powers at bay to be at bay. Even if we're talking capitalism, the fact that there's people who are like, oh, privatize healthcare, blah, blah. These people would greatly be at a disadvantage if healthcare was privatized or whatever, you know what I mean, like in Alberta. But because of like political divides and all that, it's like you have people idiotically being like, let's serve the 1% because maybe one day I'll become the 1% and like at my own detriment. And like fight the people, like where it's like ultimately if we all were like the middle class or below, we're together like, hey, fuck this, we deserve rights, like X, Y, and Z. We have the numbers to be like, why is it that like 1% gets everything and like we have to scrounge for nothing? But like the act of dividing people and you know, it helps it so that they can like nothing really gets done.
Very much divide and conquer as their tactic, which is scary. Okay, so we have 2 questions left.
Oh, I'm sad.
I know.
It's a nice compliment.
Okay, so let's do this one. How would you describe the dating space in Edmonton or Alberta as a Black person?
You want to answer first?
Yeah, sure. Well, your situation is different because you're not single anymore. But I will talk because it's me.
I'll say a little, but I feel like you have more experience.
Yeah, I guess so. Especially because like you were in Winnipeg before.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, so I think for me, it's like, so I've dated both, like I think I've dated like white people, Black people, and non-Black people. So I would say it's always easier to date someone who experiences some sort of oppression, because I have dated like white people who don't like understand that. I remember actually my last relationship, it like one of the reasons why I was excited to end it because
hopefully they're not watching.
Was because we were having a conversation about the Queen dying, and why was she like
pro monarch?
Yeah, like pro monarch, and I'm just like, this is so white of you.
Come on.
You suck.
So white of you.
Are you kidding me?
So
what has she done for you? Even as a white person, bro.
Yeah, like, so I was just like, there's so many layers that you're never gonna understand. That's like hard for me to be around.
And you don't want to be a teacher.
Yeah, no.
You're supposed to be in a relationship. Why am I having to teach you every goddamn thing?
Yeah.
Like, of course, there's an aspect of like understanding each other's humanity and whatever, you know, whoever the person is. But like, this is not a lecture. It's not a master class. And like, there's things you want someone to like know enough so that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah. So, and then my experience dating like other Black people, I feel like it is in Alberta, I don't know what it is, like maybe I don't have the luck, but it's just so weird finding people, because then you find these Black people that don't want to date Black people, and then you find like
Black people who like I feel like it's an odd, like friendship wise and whatever wise, I feel like I've only had luck with, I guess, more immigrant people. I feel like the black people who like already live here, it's either they all have their friends and the cliques and they're not looking for it.
Yeah.
And same with like dating wise.
So like I think it's harder because it's like they'd rather stay in like the same spaces, and yeah, like if you've grown up here and you like have been here your whole life, then like venturing out and like I just found it hard. Or I don't know if everyone's experience is like this, but I just know that it's like, or like I've been on the dating apps and then like some white guy will be like, oh, I want my Nubian princess, like
Oh, I love chocolate.
yeah, like I always have my coffee black, like that's
Guys,
like
please retire these sayings. Please. We're in 2024.
yeah, no,
Like enough.
enough.
Not chocolate. Okay, vanilla prince. Like,
I know,
what do you want me to say?
Yeah, so I guess those are things that I've noticed that are kind of like scary.
Gotta run.
Yeah.
Gotta run. I feel like when I think of dating in Alberta, the emotion I feel is fear. I wanna run. Because I did not know it was so honky tonk. And that idea of like dating, you know, the honky tonk is scary. It's giving Alabama, it's giving, you know, deep south, traditional values, oil and gas, world tide, you know, all that thing. And that never was necessarily something that I was like, oh yeah, that's what I want.
No, that is so true.
Yeah, but I feel like when I was like dating actively and like, you know, putting myself out there, I was like a lot more comfortable in like the BIPOC spaces than like the queer spaces, and I feel like the men weren't giving me much. Yeah, and unfortunately,
struggle.
Yeah. Before then, unfortunately, was the Caucasian men in Winnipeg that were, I think because I also went to a PWI, I feel like there was like an aspect of white culture that I ingested enough that I feel like we could relate and stuff. I always wanted like a black friend group and black whatever, but it just was not the case because I just wasn't around that. So I feel like it kind of translated to dating a little bit more. Like I feel like with friendships, I like can, you know, have more luck with like with like having more non-black or whatever friends or whatever. But with dating, I feel like the black men come with energy. Like if we're talking straight, I feel like they come with an energy that feels really sexual off the jump that I'm just like uncomfortable with.
Yeah. And I totally get that, which is why like I enjoy queer spaces and like I enjoy spaces where I don't feel like sexualized, because I feel like even like with white men, like sometimes it's like
it's in a different way, but it's still there.
It's a different way, definitely, but it's
like more
like,
fetishy too.
Yeah.
But I feel like white men are so cringe when they like black girls because it feels like, I mean, societally, you know, it wasn't too far off like early 2000s where it was like, oh my god, does my butt look fat in this? Like anything that was like black or like anything that was like synonymous, like people wanted thin lips, flat bum, like, you know, X, Y, and Z. So it was just like black women were not the standard in many ways. So I feel like if they had liked black girls or whatever, felt like they never were allowed to. So when they do decide to be, or like they're like, oh, they allow themselves to date black girls, it feels like a coming out, like I love black girls, newbie, like they feel like they've been let out the box, and it's just like, please calm down. Like, and also I'm not impressed that you want to date me. Like I don't like, I'm not like, oh yes, no. Okay, good for you, but like I feel like they feel like that because maybe they were holding it back, or it wasn't societally okay, or like they didn't want to be made fun of by their boys. So they feel like, you know, this is like my cry out to the world. And it's just uncomfortable for the actual black girls. We're just like, okay, well, do you want us to clap? Like, what do you want me to do? You want a cookie? Like, I guess good for you. You went through this whole journey, but...
Yeah. And I feel like there's also on the other side, it's like black girls who do like white women are like, oh, do you like black girls?
Or
oh my god, don't do that.
Begging to be chosen.
Don't do that.
Not only is it cringe, it's like I feel it and I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It sucks because It sucks because, like, you know, we were talking about the divide in the black community.
Yeah.
A lot of it is gender.
Yeah.
A lot of black girls, they face racism at a young age from their fellow black guys.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, yaga or whatever
Yeah.
horrible traumatic thing, you know, that was like socially acceptable at the time. So
Yeah.
I feel like some black girls can go the other way and be like crave acceptance from whiteness.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So,
yeah.
but it's like, love yourself. It really is not that deep. At the end of the day, they're massa, like, you know, you could, I have nothing against with interracial. I mean, like I said, it's been with white guys for me, but I think never give up here. Like, you're still the prize at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Any woman is. So, like, please don't be begging for any man.
Yeah, no, literally.
Especially not white men.
Yeah. And I like, just to emphasize your point, like, I think the whole point of this is like loving yourself.
Yes.
Like, black women need to love themselves. Black people need to just love themselves.
Yes.
And just like not
that
So,
external validation, because unfortunately we're not going to get it.
Yeah.
Or like we're going to get it in like perverse or fetishy ways. So it's
Yeah.
like we have to learn actual community, actually bringing each other up. I think that's the only thing that's really going to, because people are going to racist, all these things are going to happen regardless. So like the only thing we can combat it for our peace of mind and our like mental well-being is like actually having connection, genuine, real good connection with one another and with ourselves. So yeah.
beautiful. Okay. Oh. Okay, last question. Okay, so this one is a little bit of a intersection question. So what are your thoughts on the queer black art space in Edmonton? Just because we're both creatives, I thought this was like nice to tie in.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I want more.
Yeah.
Especially in like emphasis on the art space.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like you said, we're both creatives. I feel like black people are just inherently really creative.
Yeah.
Every aspect of us is like, even our hair, like you said, we were talking about earlier, like during any historical time, we've been able to create from pain, happiness, sadness, everything. So all this to say, I want more of it. I feel like I haven't had enough, but I feel like recently I'm like going into like meeting more creatives, meeting authors, meeting like artists and stuff like that. I'm like, I want more and I want to like be in that space. That's like when I think of myself as a young adult and, you know, living life, I see art shows, I see all these things with like black and spaces, BIPOC spaces. So yeah. But like my experience, I don't have that much, I would say.
Yeah.
Not enough for what I want.
Yeah, I would say that too. I think a lot of the spaces where I have seen a lot of like black queer spaces or just like art spaces like are really led by white people and like pioneered by white people, and I'd love to see more black people representing that side of black history and like black culture, because like you said, black people are so creative and
we pioneered a lot of things,
like almost everything. So it's just like it would be nice to get that representation
and feel that community. Yeah, I agree 100%. Like the one I think of recently, it's Sapphic Ave. I feel like that's BIPOC led.
It is.
So I'm excited I want to go to one of their events and see what's up.
It
looks good. But like I said, yes, I feel like even when we were talking about dating earlier, in like the gay or queer space, it has been really white, like really white washed, or you know what I mean? So I'm like, I want to see more color in that. So yeah.
I agree. Well, this was beautiful.
This was. A lot of things were said.
I know.
Don't come for me.
It's my opinion. Yeah, this was literally the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This is a perfect time for you to like this video, subscribe, follow Demi at Demilade on Instagram.
With 3Ds.
Yes, with 3Ds. And I will leave her Instagram, her YouTube. You have TikTok, your TikTok. I'm going to leave all of it there.
Nice.
So follow us both. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.